Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really digging into a powerful story of change.
That's right. We're looking at some excerpts from a daily Bible study.
Yeah, focusing on Genesis, chapters 43 and 44. It's that narrative about Joseph and his brothers.
A really fascinating sequence of events. The study frames it very much as a test, doesn't it? A test of character, of repentance.
Exactly. So our mission, let's say, for this deep dive is to explore those nuances, repentance, transformation, how it plays out in this ancient story.
And maybe what insights it offers us today about our own growth and change.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. We need to remember their first trip to Egypt.
Right. Driven by the famine, they meet Joseph, but crucially, they have no idea it's him.
And it wasn't exactly a warm welcome, was it? He was pretty harsh.
Very harsh. Accuse them of being spies.
And then the demand, bring Benjamin, the youngest brother. Plus, he kept Simeon behind as collateral.
Which puts them in an incredibly difficult position when they get back home.
Absolutely. Because back in Canaan, things are getting worse. The famine's not letting up. The grain they bought is running out.
And Jacob, their father, is just devastated at the thought of letting Benjamin go.
Understandably. I mean, he thinks Joseph is dead. Simeon's now a prisoner in Egypt. Benjamin is all he has left from Rachel.
The study quotes his lament, doesn't it? You have bereaved me of my children.
Yeah, Joseph is no more, Simeon is no more, and now you would take Benjamin. You really feel that pain.
That deep fear of loss, repeated loss, it's very human.
It really is. But the famine, it just keeps pressing. Eventually, Jacob has to relent.
And this is where Judah steps up, which is significant.
Very. He takes personal responsibility for Benjamin's safety. This study quotes his words.
Send the boy with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die. It's a powerful commitment.
A huge shift, you could argue, from maybe how they operated before, taking responsibility like that.
It definitely suggests a change is underway, perhaps, even at this stage.
So they go back. And the study notes Joseph isn't just waiting. He's actively watching for their hearts. What do you think that means, really?
Well, it implies something deeper than just checking if they brought Benjamin, right? It's about their attitude, their interactions. Is there genuine remorse? Are they acting differently towards each other, towards Benjamin? He's looking for internal evidence, I think.
Okay, so they arrive at Joseph's house, and naturally, they're terrified.
Oh, absolutely. Especially about that money they mysteriously found in their sacks last time. They think they're going to be accused of theft.
Right. But the steward, he actually reassures them. Says something like, your God and the God of your father has put treasure in your sacks for you.
Which must have been both confusing and maybe a little comforting. It takes the immediate heat off anyway.
Yeah, it eases that specific fear. Then comes this really poignant moment. Joseph sees Benjamin.
His full brother. The one he hasn't seen since Benjamin was just a boy.
And the text says, his compassion burned within him. He gets so emotional he has to leave the room to weep.
It's such a powerful detail. The study points out, that forgiveness doesn't just erase the pain of the past.
No, not at all. It's still there. Like you said, a healed wound that can still ache.
Exactly. It adds so much depth to Joseph's character, doesn't it? He's not just orchestrating things. He's deeply affected.
Totally. Okay, so then comes the feast. Joseph prepares this meal, and here's the first sort of overt test.
The portions.
Yes. He gives Benjamin 5 times the amount of food as the other brothers.
Which immediately echoes the past, right? The favoritism, Jacob showed Joseph the coat.
The very thing that fueled their jealousy back then.
Yeah.
So the question is, will this trigger it again?
Will that old resentment flare up when they see Benjamin getting special treatment? It's a deliberate poke at a known sore spot.
But it doesn't. The study makes a point of saying they ate and drank and there was no sign of the old bitterness.
And that's huge. That's the first real observable sign that maybe, just maybe, they've changed.
Facing the same kind of trigger, but reacting differently. That seems key.
It really is. It suggests a shift in their priorities, or at least better self-control, perhaps rooted in something deeper.
Okay, so that hurdle is cleared. But Joseph isn't done. Now comes what the study calls the final test.
The silver cup.
Right. As they're leaving, he tells his steward to put their money back again, but also to hide his personal silver cup in Benjamin's sack.
Now, the study is careful to frame this not just as a mean trick, but as a test of redemption.
How so? What's it testing specifically?
It's putting them right back in a similar situation to when they got rid of Joseph, Will they abandon another brother to save themselves?
Ah, I see. Faced with Benjamin being accused, potentially enslaved, or worse, will they cut him loose like they did Joseph?
Exactly. It's the ultimate loyalty test.
So the steward catches up, accuses them. They protest their innocence, of course.
Vehemently. But then they search the sacks.
And the cup is found in Benjamin's sack.
Yeah. And their reaction. Utter devastation. The text says they tore their clothes in grief.
That visual tearing their clothes, it signifies extreme distress, mourning almost, and it's collective.
Yes, that's crucial. It's not finger-pointing. It's shared shock and grief. They're in it together.
Which leads to the next key action. They all go back to face Joseph. They don't scatter.
A massive contrast to decades earlier when they sold Joseph and then just went home concocting a story.
Right. This unity, this facing the consequences together, is already a sign of change.
A fundamental shift in how they see themselves as a unit, as brothers responsible for each other.
And then, Judah. The study really focuses on him here.
And rightly so, because this is the same Judah who suggested selling Joseph instead of killing him. He was instrumental in that betrayal.
But now he steps forward, not to deflect blame, but to plead for Benjamin.
And not just plead. He makes this astonishing offer.
He offers himself, let your servant remain instead of the boy. As a servant to my lord, he offers to become a slave in Benjamin's place.
It's just extraordinary. He explains the impact this would have on their father, Jacob, the promise he made.
The study argues this is it. This is the undeniable proof. This self-sacrificial offer.
It's repentance in action, isn't it? Not just words. He's faced with losing a brother again, and this time he chooses self-sacrifice to protect him.
The exact opposite path. And for Joseph, according to the study, this is the moment he knows.
He knows the change is real. The test served its purpose not to make them fail, but to reveal the transformation that had already occurred.
That's such an interesting way to think about tests or difficult situations in our own lives.
The study connects it right back to us, to you listening.
Yeah.
That maybe challenges aren't just obstacles.
Maybe there are opportunities to see our own growth, to see the resilience we've developed.
Exactly. To reveal the change that's taken place inside, perhaps without us even fully realizing it until we're tested.
It reframes hardship, doesn't it? From something to fear to something that might actually demonstrate positive change.
It does. And the whole narrative, as the study concludes, points towards these big themes. Redemption, restoration.
Reconciliation. It emphasizes that real repentance isn't about being stuck in the past, but about moving forward differently.
Changed by experience, changed by grace perhaps, making new choices.
It's a story that really resonates because it feels so psychologically true, even thousands of years later. That possibility of profound change.
Absolutely. Even after significant failures, transformation is possible. That's a powerful message.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, we've seen this incredible arc of change in Joseph's brothers. Judah's offer is the absolute peak.
And the core idea from the source is that genuine change shows itself in actions, especially when temptation or old patterns resurface.
It's not just saying sorry, it's being different when it counts.
Which is something that I think still speaks volumes today about integrity and personal growth.
Definitely. So here's a thought to take away with you. Think about a time, maybe in your own life, maybe someone you know, where a situation came up, kind of echoing a past failure or mistake.
A moment where the old path was right there.
Exactly. But instead, a different choice was made, a better choice. What does that moment tell you about what real transformation looks like?
That's a great question to reflect on.
It really is. And of course, if you want more, the full story of Joseph in Genesis is incredibly rich. There's always more to find there.
Definitely worth exploring further.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.